I want to give a shout out to the sport news. The dude's really always been cool on my channel. And and he wrote something that I wanted to bring into a video because I thought, yeah, that is so true. We were talking about the NBA on TNT and those guys. They don't have no rights. They are bought and paid for by the NBA. They got to go to ESPN. They don't have enough capital to run not only a podcast but a channel. Imagine if you just wanted to see NBA on TNT, just those four, just to see those guys. That's bought and paid for, and that's what the cost. That's one of the reasons why corporate TV and so on and so forth sucks, because you don't have no voice. You are owned by what they want. You know they want to put Shaq Charles, especially in a lock. They're not so much worried about Ernie because he's middleman. Kenny the Jet, he's pretty neutral. But they want Shaq and Charles locked in the box. They don't want them to talk so freely. And you know good and well there ain't no way in the world with no Shannon Sharp, no Kendrick Perkins, and Stephen A. Smith that's going to really coexist with an opinion. Because ESPN is an opinionated no opinion. The same thing with Fox. I don't like none of those heads. Wells is one of the few that I like on the Fox network, one of the few. But most of that stuff is the same old heads. They all got to kiss the ring. They all got to defer. You know, we was having a conversation about it, and I said, that's so true. They don't have no say. They don't have the capital. So imagine if Shaq took his podcast money and took his own fortune, and Barkley took his, and Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson. Well, they put themselves together and created their own network and their own app and their own this, and said, we're going to talk the way we see fit. But see, they get paid so much money. Ain't nobody going to defer millions of dollars and lifestyle. So you'll go on ESPN and have to play in that machine and play in that fishbowl and say what they want you to say. That's the shame. NBA on TNT has no say. They have to adhere, take it or leave it. And this is the sad reality. Unless, of course, you have your own channel, your own mindset, you got to adhere to what they want. They even NBA greats, because Shaq and Charles Barkley are known worldwide. And you're going to tell me that they can't speak their opinions openly? And I mean openly, not that crap that goes on Rich Eisen's whack show and Dan Patrick's whack show. I have no respect for them those cats, because they're not talking about the black experience through the sports, or also a perspective where fundamentally they can talk about what happened, what they saw, what they seen, and what goes on, and call these turkeys out for what they are, and then speak out against LeBron James and Kevin Durant, all that crying, all that moaning, and load management, and the mess that Adam Silver a lot. Even though they do slurp Adam Silver, so that's the reason why that Barkley and them are going to definitely sign ESPN Plantation, because Adam Silver, they always find a good word to say about the good old commissioner, even though he is a joke. None of these sports commissioners are worth the sands of the salt. I said it. I think they all bigoted. I think they all narrow-minded. They're not progressive at all. Because I'm gonna say that until I see some black ownership, some more black general managers, black head coaches, a representation. I'm gonna say it. I don't like none of them. And Adam Silver was one of the worst offenders of them all. Telling me that somebody like Oscar Robertson couldn't be no ambassador, couldn't be no commission. I'm looking at this mess that goes on. This stuff is embarrassing. The product that you putting out, everyone's all tailor made, gotta act a certain way. Unless of course you go on a podcast and don't give up your soul. That's why I cringe when Cam Newton went on ESPN. Don't give up what you do. I hope Rasheed Wallace never gives up what he do. They use you just to slurp you, just to sit there and shuffle and dance to what they want. That's all it is, a song and dance show. But it's a shame about the NBA on TNT, because that show should not be messed with. They don't want nothing original. They don't want no original ideas. They don't want you to have no original concepts. They want you to sit there and lie and grin and say that, oh, this is good ball and this is some of the best I've ever seen, and oh, fantastic, and oh, whoa. They don't want the truth. It shows. And that's why people are talking and the games are tanking. because it's embarrassing. Yes, I'll give a greatness of a Steph Curry always. I'll give him his due. Giannis, Joker's put up great numbers. I get where I see credit is due. Good to see a Detroit coming along. I'm impressed with the Houston, Boston. See, it's so bad that usually it used to be about basketball. Even Boston, who's the world champions, got two of the 15 best players in the league, got a great coach in Joe Mazzulla. You don't hear nothing about that. Not a peep. Because if you don't sell some TMZ level or you fanboy out or say something they want, they got no use for you. And these cats don't own. But they ain't off the hook. Shaq, Charles, Kenny, they ain't off the hook. Because I ain't forgot how they did Kyrie Irving. I ain't forgot that. So while on one hand I like the entertainment aspect of what they about, whatnot, I ain't forget how they did Kyrie. Because they sold their souls. So this actually, how can the cats today have an issue with them with how they did Kyrie? I ain't forgot that. So when they negotiate, this is what you see. You don't have no head on stick that tells the truth. You know, I like even Mark Jackson's podcast is good. I like when they talk about the game, but I like the balance and perspective. Not the bought and paid that Reggie Miller does and all that mess. I don't want that. So I like it when cats say they speak their piece. Like to turn on a show that says, yeah, Bill Russell is the GOAT. Yeah, I take him over Michael Jordan. Yeah, I take him over Shaq. Yeah, I take him over Larry Bird. Yeah, I take him over Magic. Wouldn't that be refreshing? The way you have a real honest shows that spoke and talked what they felt as opposed to compromising this, well, LeBron's the second best player ever and he's on my mouth, all that nonsense and all that slurping. Tell the truth. When you say your son can't play, tell the truth that anybody could have coached the Lakers and did what JJ Redick did. Tell the truth. They quit on the black man. They ran Darvin Ham out. Tell it. Ran Anthony Davis out. Anthony Davis in a psychological coma because he still don't know he in Dallas. And Luka crying because he said, why me? How come me? Why me? Tell the truth. Shoot too many threes. Too many turkeys be wearing street clothes. These pseudo fights that are going on. Everybody want to team up. Everybody want to get clicks and views. Everybody want to be popular. Ain't nobody fighting for no chip. Tell the truth. Right now, everybody's all kumbaya. All-Star game is a joke. It's embarrassing. Like the slam dunk contest is embarrassing. And it's just a raggedy butt league that's just there. And they're trying to fix it right in front of your eyes because they really don't want no parity. That's what we need to hear. That's what NBA TNT did to an extent. Ain't nobody told the truth. Why ain't more love for Dr. J, Oscar Robinson, the brothers, the people still Earl Perlman, Roll Wall, Clyde Frazier? Give people their flowers. Give acknowledgement. It ain't being there. Rick Barry, we need to hear from him. We need to hear from our legends. They need a show. They need the real to tell the truth. Not this watered down crystal light, oversaturated sugar Kool-Aid that's watery and sugary but has no taste, no bite. Where are you at? That's why they ran NBA on TNT and anybody else that goes on TV, they want you to be suck you up like it's Jaws. That's why you got to stick to content creators and people who don't have no agenda, who are going to spit their opinions. Ain't bought and paid for. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shit. If you like, hit that membership. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out.